Hello and welcome to Read with Hadini. I am Omo Shaliwade Yoju, your host and fellow book lover. This is a space where I share my reading experiences with my audience, where I share the lessons I have learned and the fascinating insights I have discovered in the books I read. So whether you're an avid reader, a book lover, or just looking for your next great book, you're in the right place and you're in the right space. Let's dive into today's read and explore the wisdom and gem packed in this book together. So, on the last episode, we started chapter 4 of our book, The Power of Self Discipline No Excuses by Brian Tracy. And chapter 5 is titled Self Discipline and Personal Excellence. We a quick recap of the last episode, okay? On last episode, we learned that our greatest goal in life should be to fulfill the potential to fulfill that potential and become everything you are capable of becoming. We are our most valuable assets. Our life, our potential, and our possibilities are the most precious things we have. Now, we moved on to how we can invest in ourselves, invest in our skills, invest in our knowledge so that we will be an appreciating asset and not a depreciating asset. So we need to realize that whatever we do, we must improve on our knowledge, we must upgrade our knowledge and our skills. Okay. And we are encouraged to join the top 20%. Now, we stopped at a story where the author was trying to narrate an incident that happened between a salesperson and his senior colleagues at his workplace, how he was able to leverage on this relationship with top salespeople in his office. And we were reading about how he became the best, how he did what the top people did, and let's see whether he was able to utilize this advice given to him, and let's see how it's worked for him. Okay, so let's move on today's read. Do what the top people do. Bob asked another salesperson how he planned his day, and that salesperson showed him his time management system. So Bob began to plan and organize his day the way the top salespeople did it, by using these top salespeople as his role models and emulating them whenever possible. Bob started to make more appointments, see more prospects, and make more sales. Within 6 months, he was one of the top salespeople in the office as well. 6 months. Now, by that time, the top salespeople had invited him for coffee and lunch, and he became one of them. Now, rather than one of the junior salespeople, he is now among the top salespeople. The next year, Bob went to the National Sales Conference where he met a lot of top people from around the country. He deliberately sought them out and asked for their advice. What books would they suggest? What audio programs would they recommend? What seminars had they attended? What strategies did they find that were the most effective in building their sales business? Follow the advice you get. Follow the advice you get. Bob did something that few people ever do. When he received advice, he followed it. He immediately took action on the advice and then reported back to the people who had given it to him. You can notice his accountability. He not only took the advice, whenever he took action on this advice, he reported back. He went back to the people that gave him advice, and this is called accountability. Now, within 4 years, Bob became one of the top salespeople in the country. His friends and associates were the other top salespeople in his branch and in the other branches. His income had increased several times. He wore beautiful clothes, drove a new car, lived in a lovely home, and had a wonderful wife. And he said that it all came about as a result of asking top people for their input and then following that input and applying it to his sales activities. But here's the kicker: over and over, the top people, the ones who had been winning the sales award years after years, told Bob the same thing. He was the first person who had ever come up to them and asked them for advice. No one else had ever sought them out and asked them why they were so successful. Hmm. Can you say that there is a lapse there? Most people don't ask top people questions about how they became successful, or we don't even seek out good counsel or advice on how to become better in our career, in our business, in our day-to-day life. We need to seek out people that are better than us. We need to seek out people that are successful in whatever they are doing so that they can be a form of inspiration to us. They can give us advice, they can mentor us, and then we'll be better for it at the end of the day. The answers have all been found. Here is a great discovery. All the answers have been found. All the routes to success have been discovered. Everything that you need to learn to move to the top of your field has already been learned by hundreds and even thousands of other people. And if you ask them for advice, they will give it to you. Successful people will have their phone calls held, cancel other appointments, and put their work aside to help other people be successful. But you must ask, and then you must follow their advice once they give it to you. If you can't ask them directly, read their books and attend their talks and seminars. So if we can't have access to these top people because of the how it would take us a long while or connections before we can even get to where they are, we can read their books, we can attend their talks, and we can attend seminars where they will be coming to speak. Now, listen to audio programs created by successful people. This is one thing I incorporated into my daily routine in this year 2025, and that is I listened to a podcast on lifestyle, I listened to a podcast on mental health, and I listened to a podcast on success and leadership. And it has been a great influence on my life, sincerely. So listen to audio programs created by successful people. Sometimes you can send them emails and ask for advice. Learn from the best. Set high income as a goal. Set high income as a goal. If your goal is to be in the top 20% of money makers in your field, the first thing you need to do is find out what the people in the top 20% are earning today. This information is available. Just ask around. Check industry statistics. Go onto Google. You can find this information if you look for it. Now, once you know the income target at which you are aiming, write it down as your goal. Make a plan to achieve this level of income and work on it every day. Never stop until you reach it. The secret to high income in business and sales is quite simple: learn and do. Learn and do. Like jacking up a car, you improve one notch at a time. Each time you learn and practice a new skill, you ratchet up your earning ability, and it locks in. As long as you keep increasing your earning ability, you keep ratcheting up to a higher level from which you seldom decline. Use the 3% formula to invest in yourself. To guarantee your lifelong success, make a decision today to invest 3% of your income back into yourself. This seems to be the magic number for lifelong learning according to the American Society for Training and Development. This is the percentage that the most profitable 20% of companies in every industry invest in the training and development of their staff. So decide today to invest in 3%, to invest 3% of your income into yourself in order to make yourself an appreciating asset, to continually increase your earning ability. If your annual income goal is $50,000, resolve to invest 3% of that amount, or $1,500, back into yourself each year to maintain and upgrade your knowledge and skills. If your income goal is $100,000, resolve to invest $3,000 per year back into yourself to ensure that you reach that level of income. The payoff is extraordinary. I was given a seminar in Detroit a couple of years ago when a young man, about 30 years old, came up to me at the break. He told me that he had first come to my seminar and heard about the 3% rule about 10 years ago. At that time, he had dropped out of college, was living at home, driving an old car, and earning about $20,000 a year as an office to office salesman. So he decided after the seminar that he was going to apply the 3% rule to himself, and he did so immediately. He calculated 3% of his income of $20,000 would be $6,600. He began to buy sales books and read them every day. He invested in 2 audio learning programs on sales and time management. He took one sales seminar, invested the entire $600 in himself in learning to become better. That year, his income went from $20,000 to $30,000, an increase of 50%. He said he could trace the increase with great accuracy to the things he had learned and applied from the books he had read and the audio programs he had listened to. So the following year, he invested 3% of $30,000, a total of $900 back into himself. That year, his income jumped from $30,000 to $50,000. He began to think, if my income goes up to 50% per year by investing 3% back into myself, what would happen if I invested 5%? Keep raising the bar. The next year, he invested 5% of his income, $2,500, into his learning program. He took more seminars, traveled cross country to a conference, bought more audio and video learning programs, and even hired a part time coach. And that year, his income doubled to $100,000. After that, like playing Texas Hold'em, he decided to go all in and raise his investment into himself to 10% per year. He told me that he had been doing this ever since. I asked him, how has investing 10% of your income back into yourself affected your income? He smiled and said, I passed $1 million in personal income last year, and I still invest 10% of my income into myself every single year. I said, that's a lot of money. How do you manage to spend that much money on personal development? He said, it's hard. I had to start spending money on myself in January in order to invest it all by the end of the year. I have an image coach, a sales coach, and a speaking coach. I have a large library in my home with every book, audio program, and video program on sales and personal success I can find. I attend conferences both nationally and internationally in my field, and my income keeps going up and up every year. Here are 3 simple steps to become the best. Hmm. Like, this book is packed. This book is packed. 3 simple steps to become the best. Becoming one of the top people in your field requires discipline and application more than anything else. There are 3 simple steps that you can follow to become the very best in your field. Number 1, Read 60 minutes in your field each day. 60 minutes is 1 hour, right? Turn off the television and the radio. Put aside the newspaper and read material about your field for 1 hour each day before you start working. Number two, listen to educational audio programs in your car. Start them and stop them as you listen so you can reflect on what you have just heard and think about how you can apply the ideas to your work. Number three, attend courses and seminars in your field regularly. Seek them out. Take online courses in the convenience of your own home. Courses that enable you to upgrade your skills and give you important ideas that you can use to be even more successful. The power of compound learning, like compound interest, is quite amazing. The more you learn, the more you can learn. The more you learn, the better your brain functions and the smarter you get. The more you learn, the better your brain functions and the smarter you get. Your memory and retention rates improve. The more you learn, the more relationships you find between something you learned at one time and something you learn at another time. Never stop learning and growing. Never stop learning and growing. So, what are the three simple steps? Read 60 minutes in your field each day. Listen to educational audio programs in your car or in the as you go. Attend courses and seminars in your field regularly. The achievement of mastery. How long does it take to achieve mastery in your field? According to the experts, the acquisition of mastery requires about 7 years or 10,000 hours of hard work. So it takes 7 years to become a master salesperson. It takes 7 years to become a successful business person. It takes 7 years to become an excellent diesel mechanic. It takes 7 years to become an excellent brain surgeon. It seems to take 7 years or 10,000 hours of hard work to get to the top of any field. So you might as well get started. The time is going to pass anyway. The starting point of your achieving mastery is for you to commit to excellence. I have never met a person who made a decision to get into the top 20% in their field who did not eventually achieve it. And I have never met a person who got there having not made that decision. Making the decision and then following it up with continuous purposeful discipline action is essential. Wow, I don't want to rush this book at all. Like chapter 5 is packed. When I say packed, is really, really packed, and I don't want us to rush it at all. So I'm going to be taking it a step at a time because all the things that are written here are awesome, awesome gems that will really, really transform our lives. For example, now I'm so touched about this 3% formula on investing in yourself. You start by we had an example of somebody that started with 3%. From 3% it went up to 5%. From 5% it went all in 10%, and his life transformed. And another one I'm so going to try, like I keep telling you on every episode, that there is nothing we're in this together, right? We're reading this book together. There's nothing I read or I see in this book that I don't try. I already had my goals written from the last chapter. I already chose my definite purpose. And now we are to have these simple steps to become the best in our field, in our academics, in our career. It's applicable to students, it's applicable to career people, it's applicable to business owners. I want to try out these 3 steps too, and I'm sure you're also going to try it out. Read 60 minutes in your field each day. Even if you're a business person, read about an hour a day about what your business line or business in general. If you're an academic, read an hour about your field globally. Know what is going on in your field. and attend courses and seminars in your field. I am so excited reading this chapter. Chapter 5 is becoming one of my favorites right now. Personal excellence, self-discipline, and personal excellence. That is the title of this chapter 5. And I'm sure that we're able to learn from this episode today. Like this episode is like really? There are a lot of things, a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom. And one thing I really love about this book, The Power of Self Discipline, is that there are a lot of exercises. It's not that you're just reading, you have to do some soul searching, some mind storming, some goals writing, some action plan, a lot of things to do. Like it's a book, it's a self-help book, a book you can pick up and you know that you're getting a lot from this book. And as you're reading it, your life is getting transformed by the day. Like it's a book that you just sit down with a chapter and begin to think on it like, okay, I think I need to do this, I think I need to do this. So I'm sure we've been able to learn a lot from this episode. I'm sure that we are putting pen to paper and jotting things down and writing out our goals, writing out the things we need to do, setting out time to become the best in our business, in our career, in our academics, and in all spheres of our life. Thank you once again, my lovely audience, for coming to Read with Hadene podcast today. I had a wonderful time reading with you, my lovely audience. Thank you for coming every day, every episode, and every time you think about it with Adeni podcast, you click on this podcast and to listen. I am so grateful for your support, and take care of yourself. Stay hydrated. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Don't allow stress, and keep striving to be excellent in all areas of your life. I am rooting for you because we can all get to that top together. So until I come your way on our next episode of Read with Hadine podcast, take care of yourself, stay blessed, and see you later. Bye.